will speak about the experience of Canopus-B and Resurs-P processing. Andrey, Sechin, the scientific director of Racurs, will make the presentation.
Здравствуйте. Материалы моего доклада.
Hello. This presentation has been prepared by Anatoly Zubarev, one of the staff under Dmitry Kuchergin. He could not come, so I will do the presenting for him. So, as far as Resurs-P is concerned, we processed basically the same data that was presented in the previous report. What I'd like to say is that PhotoMod supports virtually all available remote sensing satellites in orbit. As for Russian ones, I think we were the first to provide support for them, which was evident from Russian space agency's report. Victor, how many licenses do we have? Hundreds of licenses in Roscosmos we have. So we used the same data, but analysis was somewhat different. We wanted to check the accuracy of satellites and provide suggestions on how processing is taking place. As for Resurs-P, we selected the area of Hobart town in Tasmania. We had 7 images with the following convergence angles. Here you can see the ground control points arrangement. As you know, GOI had a publicly available stereo pair for this territory, and it had quite a number of ground control points measured already. So I'm trying to answer Matthias's question. So this is where we derived coordinates of the reference from. Let's first look at what happens if I do RPC coefficients and how that correlates with accuracy, how that affects the accuracy without stereo processing. Here you can see error graphs in plan and in height. So it's either the green line or the purple line. And unlike other satellites, the number of GCPs that you need to have the best accuracy is 4 to 5. And desirably, you should use affine adjustments for RPC coefficients. And the second processing was stereo processing. It was the adjustment for the whole bundle of the whole block. Dmitry will tell us about this during his master class. So we chose the best geometrically optimal GCPs, and for the rest we did control. So we checked affine adjustments for RPC coefficients. The results are quite good, similar to what was presented in the previous report. I wish we had errors at the level of 1 pixel, 1 GSD. But if a strict model were available, it would increase accuracy. So the conclusion is, if you process Resurs-P images, you need 4 to 5 ground control points, use affine adjustments, and when you use 4 to 5 control points, you get a very comfortable stereo observation, stereo imaging. So the results are very similar to what was presented prior to me. And the second part of my presentation is more exciting because it contains some innovative elements. Canopus-V satellite has very interesting sensors. It's a set of matrices located, arranged in a chessboard fashion. So that creates a scene, and you can buy from Roscosmos, not buy, receive, of course, a set of micro images or the finished ortho photo. What we did was to see what you can do with this set of micro images. There are very standard methods to process micro images. We do a bundle of images, and then we apply standard photomod technology to process it. And the second part, which interested us, was micro images linked with the RPC coefficients. So we recalculated RPC factors for the combined image, and then we continued to work with the combined image. By adjusting micro images, I should have a better accuracy, and we were wondering just how the technology where you combine micro images into synthetic images, how will that affect accuracy? So the combined image technology is much faster. You need about 3 minutes per scene. And in case of using a standard procedure, where data is processed by one core, we are talking hours of processing. We used 2 areas: Novokuznetsk town. We used images from 2 passes of satellite, and Yekaterinburg acquisition, where we had more data. These images show how micro images cover these areas. Novokuznetsk acquisition had a small angle between images, only 14 degrees, and here you can see how the known ground control points were scattered. There were a few of them, and they did not cover the entire area. In case of Yekaterinburg, we had better angles, and we had more GCPs, which cover practically the entire area. So we created combined images to see what accuracy it will have. We used virtually all points available to us. So when affine correction was applied, we had the same accuracy, about 1 pixel, both vertically and in height. So a combined image essentially does not make accuracy worse. Then we did the same for Resurs-P. We selected best geometrically best 5 GCPs to see what will happen when we do stereo processing. For Novokuznetsk it's not so illustrative because angles of intersection and GCPs were not sufficient. And when you compare a classical approach and the combined image, we can see that the adjustment of combined images takes fractions of a second, delivering the same level of accuracy. This is Novokuznetsk, and the Yekaterinburg. Yekaterinburg is more visual because it has better angles of intersection. Now, when we combined all microimages into one, didn't we have any breaking points? The best way to check for any breakages, we will have to have some sort of step-like images. But we checked and everything was smooth, everything was well, there were no breaks. And the last experiment we did for Yekaterinburg, we had stereo vectors from Pleiades. So what we did is we overlaid it on what we had, and it superimposed quite well with good accuracy. So what it tells you is that Canopus-V initial images had good geometric properties and georeferencing. We developed a new automatic technology to create or to combine micro images. Micro images have the same accuracy as the original ones. This is a fast technology. This can be run on many CPU cores, and combined images can also be used for convenient stereo processing as opposed to working with micro images. That is all from me. Thank you very much. Thank you. Are there any questions? Can you tell me, this technology is available only from you? Yes, only from us. It's not even included in the complement of photo mod. If there is demand, if there are orders placed, we will certainly include it in this suite. Actually, we have most of it except the correction with RCP factor. So what I understand correctly, you redo the data from the operator. So the operator needs to certify it somehow to vouch for the accuracy of data. Just to make sure that, well, there is always full processing for microimages is available. But if you need stereo, this technology will do better in this situation. First of all, I would like to thank you for your research, and we are appreciative of the praise the satellite and its images. Can you show the slide describing strips? This one? Now, what I wanted to point out and draw your attention to is that you selected the winter images, which have their own specific nuances, and then the angle of the sun, a number of fruits, 13, 12, 79, have an angle to the sun close to the minimum allowable angle. What I'm saying is that even with such difficult images, you still were able to get good accuracy. Canopus was designed and created without taking in consideration stereo imaging. During the course of operating, it became known that stereo processing is available also. If we had been tasked from the beginning to foresee stereo processing, then we could have done something with the platform. But anyway, I would like to thank you for your high appreciation. We've been looking forward to this function in photo mod. I have a question. What about the areas with few GCPs? What is the minimum number that you must have? At least 4. At least 4, unfortunately. Unfortunately, that's the case. I'll also make a small remark. When we talked about parallelization to get good products, you know, I remember we did photo mod conveyor that is used one of the largest, one of the 10 largest Russian companies. And the idea was to make Canopus deliver results in a massive scale, large scale, like mass production. Still, our offer is available. I mean, in the light of 4 more satellites that are to be launched, this will make more sense. If there are 6 satellites in orbit, we will be able to get a good geodetic factory that will deliver good coverages. I agree with you, and I was even in the Canopus examination board So I confirm that we are interested in creating the factory for Canopus imagery processing. Thank you. Any other questions? If there are no further questions, is it possible to get this for testing? Sure. Like I said, photo mode lacks only one element, one component, but if you need it, you can come to us and we'll give it to you for testing. So that's a request, urgent request from me. Other questions? If there are no further questions,